Hey, Elaine, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. It's great to see you. Where are
Yes.
you
Yeah.
located?
In the northwest of England. It's a little town called Widnes, which is right next door to Liverpool. Mum and dad. I have a twin sister who does not have any of these conditions, thankfully. So that's a blessing.
Yeah.
um, I think I always say if one of us had to get them, I'm glad it was me because she's not good with pain and being ill. So or having blood taken and things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely much better off that it was me, not her.
Take that off her, right? Yeah, you
I say
probably.
it's her. I blame her for it a lot of the time because my mum has a theory that um, people say fibromyalgia can be brought on by a trauma. I've basically had it as far back as I can remember, and I had the sleeping problems and things like that as a really small baby. And my mum's theory was always that the trauma that I had was because I was the second twin to be born. I was
Oh,
in distress on the way into the world.
uh,
So I always say to my sister, it's your fault.
it's your fault. Yeah, I
It's
mean,
your
there could
fault. You could have let me go first.
could have been truth to that, right? I mean, that
It's
oftentimes.
possibly, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I was medicated and everything for sleep when I was a baby, and that was like 40 something years ago. So it wasn't
Wow.
really too common then. But yeah, I always had a lot of pain. I just didn't realize that everyone else didn't. Because
Yeah,
when you're
it was all
small, you
all
don't.
you knew, right?
Exactly, yeah. So, I would associate school with pain from sitting on the school chairs all day and, kids' TV programs. There's certain ones now that I just can't watch because they just make me think of migraines because they're so colourful and noisy. All the other
Yeah.
kids would be happy to come home and watch them. I'd be like, no, don't like that, and go get a book and sit quietly in the corner.
Makes it
But
worse.
it
Yeah.
does, and like I said, it was a lot of years I didn't know. So everyone thought I was a bit clumsy because I was always doing injuries to myself, and just a bit of a crybaby because I was always hurt and always not well. But my mum and dad always knew something was going on, and
Yeah.
as I got to sort of a bit older and could talk about it with them, we sort of started going down the route of testing, and they'd say, "Oh, it's just growing pains, whatever that is.
And
It's
that's with the
just
fibromyalgia,
stress."
right? Is that?
Yeah, exactly. And I think the other stuff just came with it because of, I mean, looking back now, I recognise anxiety and panic sort of things as a kid, but I wouldn't have known at the time that that's what it was. It's scary being in pain, I suppose, and that's the way I look at it now. It's just, even though you get used to the pain to a certain extent, it can still be frightening when you wake up and you've got a massive amount of pain and you sat there on your own in the middle of the night. That's when you get a panic attack or whatever. But as a kid, I just thought, I'm scared, I don't know what it is, something's not right. And the doctors had all sent me away. So I was in mid to late 20s when I got the fibromyalgia diagnosis.
Oh, really?
Mm, yeah. So
But you had
still
it. But you lived with symptoms, a lot
mhm,
earlier than that, right?
forever.
Just
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. Forever. Like I said, as a child, it would affect what I could do. I was a bit more active then than I am now. It's gotten worse as I've gotten older, but it definitely affected what I could do and also what I wanted to do because I knew going out or doing things would result in like a
Yeah.
payback afterwards, where you get like the extra pain and the no energy. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't do things unless I really wanted to. When I was a small child, probably about the age that my son is now, I had a broken collarbone, and for the first couple of days, nobody knew that that's what it was. I went to the hospital because mum said there's something wrong with her, and it's
Yeah.
not a normal behaviour.
Yeah.
And so, but they just sent her away saying no, she's fine because I wasn't reacting, I think, in a way that they expected me too with like a bad break. But at that point, I was already quite used to high levels of pain, so I was kind of like, "Oh, that's not good," and just sit quietly in the corner. And I think Mum always feels bad about that because when they sent me away from the hospital, she says, "I shouldn't have let them send you away for like 2 more days," you know. But
Yeah.
I know she did sort of struggle with it, and Dad as well, because they knew something wasn't right and I was in pain, but they couldn't fix it. They didn't know what it was.
Well, and
So,
especially with fibromyalgia, I mean,
mm,
it wasn't not too long ago that it was
mm-hmm,
even understood even less, and that
yeah,
it was one of those conditions that people oftentimes have just thought, oh, that's not legitimate, right? That
mm-hmm,
was in your head. But
yeah,
we now know that that was wrong, and there's
mm-hmm,
absolutely things happening in your muscular system and things that affect your nerves. And
yeah, that's right. It's a definitely a whole system, whole body thing.
yeah,
It's not fully understood yet, but
yeah,
there's still a lot of skepticism, even in the medical field. You know, there are still doctors around over here that you'll see, and they'll say it's not real, or
really,
you, yeah, it's not real, or they'll say it's just in your head. It's mind over matter. You just need to go away and have a better attitude towards it, and you know, it's not good, but things are getting better. People are gradually getting
yeah,
the hang of it and understanding what it is. It's
yeah,
just not fully there yet. It's good that we're always learning and there's research going on all the time. It's just that with things like fibromyalgia, it's not in itself, it's not like necessarily a life threatening thing. So I know some people would disagree with that because of the mental health stuff that can come with it. And, you know, sadly, that can affect a lot of people very badly. But
yeah,
um, on its own, just the actual pain side of it, it's not it's not going to kill people in the same way that a lot of other things can.
yeah,
Unfortunately, that means that you're a bit lower down the list for research,
yeah,
which is
yeah,
understandable, but it just means it's a bit slower with the movement on it and
yeah,
the progress. It just means that you have to try a lot of alternative things as well, you know, before being diagnosed and even after. So I became very good at a very young age at meditating and using alternative therapies, you know, crystals and
oh,
all of
really?
that kind of thing, which some people think is useless and silly. And I don't know how much of that effect is like a psychological effect or anything, but I do think energy has got a lot to do with it. And so
Yeah,
I'll happily get that in along with all the other traditional medication and stuff.
yeah,
The diagnosis was somewhat of a relief after so many years of going back and saying something's going on, and being told no, it's not. When you get the diagnosis, it's like, thank you, I'm not just imagining it all. So, you know, so
yeah.
that was a relief. It was just by that point it had gotten worse, and I think I think when I was about 29, 30ish, I had quite a bad injury to my back with the ligaments just through getting out of the shower basically, and things pop quite easy and
Oh,
they
wow.
go quite easy, and it was quite a bad one, and I was off work for a while and didn't actually get back into work properly after that. And I think that had a bigger impact on the depression side of the mental health, although the anxiety had always been there with the high pain and the migraines and things like that. But that definitely had an effect with the depression, just because nobody wants to be stuck at home, do they? And I was used to being
Yeah,
around a lot of people and quite enjoyed going out to work and, you know, being productive. And you kind of feel like you lose a bit of who you are, because I think quite often people define themselves by what they do.
mm,
So I think in another way, it's kind of a gift and a blessing that you're sort of forced to look at who you are outside of that, you know. And that's when I started doing a lot more of the writing and things like that as well, which is a massive part of how I cope with, especially the mental health side of it. And that's turned
yeah,
into a big part of who I am now. It's just maybe that wouldn't have happened, you know, if I was in work, but at the time, it was devastating to be told, you know, you're not going to be able to manage to go back. You need to be at home now. Nobody wants that. So that was pretty hard. But again, having a good support system and people around you that can help hold you up when you need it, you know, is a massive part of it. So I'm very grateful for all of that. I've got a big extended family as well, lots of aunts and uncles and cousins, and you know, they're all fantastic, very supportive. So a massive blessing, you know, with
Yeah.
the people that I've met that I wouldn't have done otherwise, you know, if
Yeah.
things had turned out differently. And also just I think it also encourages, because growing up with it as well, it encourages sort of you to open your mind to other possibilities and other things like the alternative therapy. And I think just to be really tuned into your own self and your own energy and what's right and what's wrong within your own body. So
Yeah.
that you know, that's a thing that people have to work to get to know. And I'm lucky enough in a way that that's just been a natural part of life, you know, for me.
Yeah.
So some people have said to me before, if you could get rid of it, wouldn't you just get rid of it? I'd love to not have the pain, but I don't know, because,
Yeah.
you know, it is what it is for a reason. And I have 100% trust in God, the universe, all
Yeah.
of it, to say that, you know, it's for a reason. And even if that means it's because of being very attuned to, you know, energy and having a lot
Yeah.
of empathy for other people as well. It does teach empathy, I think, as well.
Yeah.
And just appreciation. It's so easy to be grateful for the little things. And that's how you get through the day. You know, you might not be able to walk that day, or you've got a massive migraine, but there's tiny little things you can look around at and pick up and say, you know, it looks really pretty outside today. Oh, my little boy came in and woke me up with a hug today. And all of those tiny little things throughout the day, you just become very grateful for. And
Yeah.
you notice, you know. I think it's an overall hypersensitivity kind of condition with the fibromyalgia anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I think it does mean, you know, there's extra sensitivities to pain, to noise, to light sometimes,
Yeah.
to temperatures, you know. So I think with that comes sensitivities towards other people and other people's energy, other people's feelings.
That's
And
true.
so that's something that I wouldn't change, because I think that has been pretty special. Sometimes you get to meet other people with a similar thing, and the connections you make are really special. It gives you strength and it gives you purpose. I think once you get past the initial feeling of I can't work a normal 9 to 5 job and do all of those hours, so I'm not a productive member of society,
Mm-hmm.
you can sort of then start thinking, wait a minute, what am I going to do with all my days? So whether
Yeah.
that be volunteering or fundraising or
Yeah.
creative pursuits. And you know, I think a lot of people with chronic illnesses are very creative people, which sort of goes in with the hypersensitivities. Again, just that kind of side of yourself and being able to be vulnerable enough to let it out, you know?
Yeah.
So it's all
Yeah.
positive stuff that can come from it if you just look for it.
But
Yeah,
if we
absolutely.
if we just take that a day at a time and let
Mm-hmm.
that process happen, it can be a beautiful thing, and that's kind of part of that beautiful disruption.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. And I think that part of the reason why these conditions are so misunderstood is because they are very complex and the symptoms are very wide ranging and everything. But at the same time, I think it does open up that, because you've got to have an open mind with regards to what could be going on within your body before you get a diagnosis, and an open mind towards, you know, what you're going to do about it. If nobody's going to help you medically,
Yeah.
then you've got to do something. So you open your mind to all the other possibilities, and that is just, I think, just a way of coping, but also a way of having a deeper understanding of yourself and your purpose. And you know, we're all these infinite beings that are
Yeah.
capable of so many things, and we're all connected with energy and all of those things. And I think just having that open mind and that open heart to accepting all of that and wanting as much of the positive and the
Yeah.
learning to keep coming. You know, there's always going to be learning to be done about all these conditions, just the same as there is about who you are as a person. And you can do the science side of it and
Yeah.
look at, okay, with my condition, these are the things that I know, these are the things that I think, and these are the mystery little bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Same as who you are as a person. This is who I am, this is where I was born, this is my name. Then there's the things you're thinking and you're figuring out as you go, and then there are things that we don't know yet.
Yeah.
And
Doctors, even
that's
scientists,
exciting.
right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even the most knowledgeable scientists have probably realized, if they're wise, that whoa, I spent a lifetime and I just barely started scratching the
Mm-hmm.
surface. I mean, think of that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, currently, my mum has Alzheimer's, and the thing that you realize with stuff like that is how little is actually known about the brain.
Yeah.
And I 100% firmly believe that it's connected to a soul and a
Oh yeah.
energy thing as well. So
Oh yeah.
that's one of those things, like you say, where you kind of have to have a belief in something that you can't see, something that isn't tangible, or something that's not right in front of you and very obvious. Oh, it's not easy. I mean, like I say, I try to focus on the positive as much as I can, but being honest, there's no getting away from the fact that it's hard. I wake up in pain. I know that the rest of the day is going to be pain. Depending on what I've got to do that day, I might also know that I'm going to get a lot of payback, extra pain, extra fatigue. It's a struggle just to move around and do things. There's pain in different parts of your body. You get up in the morning, have a little mental scan up and down and see what's hurting today, what moves, what doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people very much can underestimate pain when they see that you're still able to smile, maybe, or still able to
Mm-hmm.
be happy sometimes, and it's not true. I mean, all those blessings and everything that I talk about, I'm honest about that, and that I do believe that. But at the same time, I can't say every day is all sunshine and wonderful, because it's
Yeah.
really not.
Oh
There are
yeah.
days when I can't do anything. There are days when I feel guilt, because I think that's another thing with chronic illness as well. You do feel a lot of guilt because of the
Mm-hmm.
burden that you think you are to your family, even though they're not. But in those moments, you feel like you are.
Oh
And
yeah.
then
It's
parental guilt. My little boy will be saying, "Can we go do this? Can you come and do that?" And sometimes I have to say no. And he's fantastic. He knows a little bit about it. He doesn't know about all the anxiety and things like that, because I keep that away from him as much as I can. But the
your
fibromyalgia, he does know.
your son. You
And
have one
yeah,
child, one son.
yeah, one son. He's 7. His name's Jared, and he's awesome. If he wants me to do Lego with him on the floor, he'll put a pillow down for me to sit on. He just knows that's what you do.
Yeah.
But kids are very accepting of anything, really, aren't they? And people's differences. So he doesn't think anything of it, knowing that his mum's the one at the school gate with a walking stick.
Yeah.
He doesn't worry about it because he's
Yeah.
used to it. And all
You
the
get
other
used to it.
kids are just interested of what's that? Why have you got it? And you see the mums and the dads at the gate like, shh, don't be saying that, or don't look at her, don't stare. And I think it's fine. When he
Yeah.
was 3 years old at the preschool, the other kids were like walking and holding onto the stick with me and pretending to limp along, and the mums were like horrified. I was saying
Yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah.
They're just being curious. It's not a problem. Kids are very non-judgmental. I think it's just interesting
Yeah.
curiosity with
It
them,
is. It
whereas
is. It's something
a lot of
different. They want to.
yeah,
And
a lot of
they.
grown-ups are more judgmental with, like, who is she? Why has she got that? Does she not have a job? Does she claim benefits? Does she work and pay her own way? And it's all of that judgment. And then there's medication, and that's a whole nother thing, because um, of the judgment that you get from medical people and just generally other people from taking medication for anxiety and depression and panic disorders, and for fibromyalgia, because there are some pretty serious medications involved with some of that as well, and
Yeah.
particularly with opiates, especially. That's been in the news on both sides of the pond the last few years. It's very difficult to not get judgment on that. And people will say, "Do you think you're addicted to this medication?" And I'll say, "I think I'm dependent on it." I think that's different because I'm not
Hmm.
taking it for the reasons that would make, that addicts take it. I don't take it to feel good, I take it to function. And
Yeah.
that's no judgment on people that are addicts, because I've been in a situation where I've had to withdraw from medications and it's flipping hard. I don't know how people do it. It's tough, but it's very difficult when you get questioned so much by even the
Yeah.
doctors. I mean, I keep getting my medication stopped and they say, "No, we don't want you to have that anymore. That's a pretty serious drug. We'll give you paracetamol." Great, I might as well go and eat some Tic Tacs and M&Ms instead, because
Yeah.
that isn't going to work. They don't trust that
Yeah.
you've grown up with it and you know what works and what doesn't. They just
Yeah.
think this person wants drugs,
Yeah.
and it it's another thing that people judge you on, and it's difficult trying to
Yeah.
just justify yourself all the time. You have to explain why you can't work, why you're claiming, financial help, why you need this medication, and it's so exhausting, absolutely exhausting. In some ways, more exhausting than going to work, but
Yeah. We
um,
hear that a lot. We hear that.
it is. It's hard. It's hard, but I think, I don't know. Like I say, you've got to focus on the positives, but I'd never want to minimize it. To people, like, people say, "How are you?" and the response is, "Oh, yeah, I'm fine," because otherwise they'd be really sorry they asked. You
Yeah.
give them a big list of terrible things and break
Yeah.
everyone down.
Yeah. How much time do you got? Right.
Mm,
Let me tell
exactly.
you.
I've got a list.
Let me
Yeah.
tell you how I'm really doing. Right.
Mm,
Yeah.
exactly. And when I watched the TikTok videos of Nell's story and listened to that,
Yeah.
it was sort of really emotional and moving to listen to, because it's like, do you know what? That's the thing that people don't get to hear and don't get to see. Like you said before, behind closed doors, the everyday stuff. Because
Yeah.
people say, "Okay, yeah, doing okay. Yeah, I'm all right."
True.
Sometimes it's like, actually, this is what I'm going through, and you wouldn't be able to comprehend how hard it is sometimes.
It takes
It's
courage. It takes
it
courage.
does attack your confidence, especially if you can't go to work and you're used to it, or you do unfortunately lose friends and people that you can't keep in contact with if you're
Yeah.
going out, and it's just part of life, isn't it? That it happens, but it does hit you quite hard when you realise it's because of this thing to do with, um, your health, and you can't do anything about it to prevent it, but still it'll have negative effects on your confidence and your ability to
Yeah.
maintain friendships and things like that.
Yeah. It's
Luckily, you
true.
do you end up with a few very good ones, which
You
is
hold
a
on
good
to them.
thing. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
What is your hope to do for others?
I think just to, I like to be the one that supports people, and I like to be the one that tries to lift up people. We have conversations online a lot, and I will always tell people, if you need someone to talk to, give me a shout. If you need someone to listen to you, give me a shout, because I've needed that, and I've had that. So I've had that from people that I've encountered online, especially, and I just want to keep doing that and like pay it forward to the next person. You know, it's just you want to, I think, leave behind like a positive energy with the encounters that you have with people. I think every time you have any interaction with a person, you go away with some kind of residual energies that are, left behind. And I think if we want them to be a good one, don't we? We want people to
Yeah.
go away thinking that that was a good thing and that was beneficial
Yeah.
to
You
them.
help them, right? You serve them
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
in one way, and you find those ways to serve, even if they're different, right, than what you've done
yeah,
before.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. I think with some friends we did a lot of fundraising for Macmillan Cancer Support, which was really good. Um, we had a friend who sadly passed away just before her 40th birthday, and she had been wanting a party with all, all the friends. So we decided instead of doing that, we'd make some kind of event, but do as a fundraising event, which we did, and then we sort of did it again for the next 5 years after that, and we, did really well, raised a lot of money, met a lot of interesting people,
Oh, that's awesome.
and so it's that kind of thing that makes you feel like, you know what, I actually did something productive.
Yeah.
Admittedly, I had to, after a couple of hours out doing that, come home and lie down for 2 days, but that's
Yeah.
fine,
Yeah.
and at
Well, that's
least,
you got to recover and kind of think of
yeah.
yourself so that you can kind of be there for people. What are some of those things that you do for yourself to kind of maintain your health, your happiness, your peace the best
Mm-hmm.
that you can?
Oh gosh, the main thing is just having my son. He's awesome. He really is. I know everybody thinks their kids are the best, and I do. I think kids are amazing anyway. But he's just so much fun. He's 7 years old. He's bundles of energy, and he's just really funny. And we laugh, we joke, and just the everyday stuff. Sit on the floor and do Lego with him, or play a game. We make up games. We listen to music together. Music is a good one. I think that's a good healing thing for a lot of people. I've
Yes,
always,
for
I've got no
sure.
musical talent myself, unfortunately, whatsoever, but I really do love it. And since being online and writing and getting out there with other creative people, I've met a lot of people that are into the similar kinds of things, and it's just really a healing thing for me to be talking with other creative people and doing creative things and expressing everything that way, rather than just always sitting down and saying, oh, I'm not having a good day, I'm in pain, let's make it into something creative. And
Yeah.
that's what I like
Yeah.
to do. So
Yeah,
I
you
write
remind me.
as well.
You have a lot in common with my wife. I'm sure as you gotten to know her, you probably felt the same. But yeah, you guys uh, have a lot of similarities for sure.
It's definitely a sort of therapeutic thing when you listen to music, or when you're writing is the one for me. If I've
Yeah,
got a lot of the anxiety and the can't think clearly and all of that, I just get a pen and a paper, go old school with a journal and a pen, write it all down, and it comes out so fast. I don't know what I'm writing till it's done, and then I'll read back over it afterwards and see what came out. So
yeah,
that's really, really helpful for me, as well as crystals. I'm really into those, and meditating and all that kind of thing. So it's nothing big or exciting. It's just taking a few minutes here and there throughout the day when you need them, you know.
yeah,
Uh, and definitely looking at the Bible once in a while has been a helpful thing as well. That's always good for a bit of perspective, isn't it? So if
yeah,
that's your belief and that's what you do, then it's definitely a way to sort of stay grounded and make sure you on the right path. The whole faith thing is relatively new to me. Um, I went to a very strict Catholic school that completely turned me off it, even as a child. But just over the last few years, things have kind of changed again a little bit for me, with just events going on, extended family
yeah,
situations and
yeah.
relationship breakdowns and issues with mum and all of that. And it was something that a friend said to me, read some of these proverbs, don't attach any spiritual meaning to them at first, just read them, see what you think, and you'll get some good ideas and good sort of common sense stuff from some of them. Gosh, do you know what? I'm so lucky to have been able to do what I've done so far, really, with the amount of learning and reading. I'm a total book nerd, so it's all about just continually learning and meeting other people, sharing experiences and conversations. Um, just generally doing creative things. So more writing is something else. Maybe different kinds of writing. I'd like to have a go at a kids book as well.
Really?
Yeah, my mum used to tell me and my sister these little stories about a bumblebee, and it was like a little bee that buzzes around, but it had its own little name and personality, and there was all like these little stories about how its mum told it not to go outside the gate without her, and so it'd stop on the fence instead and wait for her,
Oh,
and it's what she used to do just to, teach us these things. But it was really cute, and so I was
oh,
telling my little boy about it not long ago, and Dad said to me, "You should write those." I was like, "Do you know what? I think we could do that between us, with my sister." Mum said she remembered it a little bit as well, so we need to get that from her while she can still remember, and maybe have a go at illustrating it as well, because I do
oh,
like to draw a bit now and again.
I
So
love
that's
that.
one thing on the list. But I just want to keep writing and maybe try songwriting, like lyrics wise. Like I said, I've got no musical talent, but I do like to do writing with the words. So yeah, I've done little bits and pieces of collaborating with a couple of people, but I'd like to get into that a bit more and explore that. I think that'd be cool as well.
There's just there's always something that you can do for other people.
Yeah, for
And
sure. And if it's something that brings you a bit of peace and a bit of happiness as well, like if I do writing, then that's awesome because it's amazing for me, and
yeah,
hopefully can help out other people and put out something good or useful or relatable into the world as well.
yeah,
I think I'm stronger than I think I am. I think, however strong I think I am, I know that there's always more, because things happen in life, that will affect you mentally and that will affect you emotionally. But having gone through living with pain all the time and coping with that, I think it just gives you like a little hidden strength. And you get up some days and you think, that's it, I'm done, I'm out of it, I can't do it. And there's
hmm,
always that little bit more sort of mental strength. And yeah, that it it just reminds me of that more than a lesson, maybe a reminder. But I think the lesson is just that um, you can still be productive and do good things, and that there are a lot of people out there trying to do the same, just in different ways. Give yourself a bit more grace. There's a lot of guilt that comes with chronic illness, and we need to understand that if we're going to treat ourselves like we're a problem and a burden, we're not going to be able to convince the rest of the world that that's not the case, because we've got to believe it ourselves first. So it's just that you're just as worthy of, love and respect, and you know as anybody else, and it doesn't diminish your impact on other people and your sort of light out in the world. It can still be, I'm having a terrible day today, but tomorrow I'm going to do this and really do something useful or helpful, or you just have to take the days as they come. Be kind to yourself when you need to be, uh, and advocate for yourself, because even within the medical community, unfortunately, with invisible chronic illnesses, and also being female still, for a lot of medical people,
hmm,
is you kind of get sent away as a bit of a hysterical woman. I've had doctors say to me, "Oh, us women, we get stressed about what to have for dinner, don't we?" And I'm like, "No, actually, no, I
you're being
don't. I
dramatic or
get
something.
stressed because I
Yeah,
can't move my leg, or I've got a
yeah,
sore back.
yeah,
That's It's not the same thing, but that's just society, isn't it? The way,
yeah,
there's been a lot of progress there, but there's still a way to go with that as well. So
yeah.
just advocate for yourself, speak up, and trust your own body. If you know something's not right, even if every doctor out there tells you everything's fine, don't don't take no for an answer. Keep going.